Good evening, lovely spirits. It's the wise servant here, Mr. Solace. Today I want to do this video explaining why they take our brains when we die. And it's a very interesting thing. Now, being as though death is like taboo, spirits in hell do not like to speak about death in any form or fashion. And being as though this is the case, most people have not put any thought into why they take our brains when we die. When your loved one dies, you're sad, and you're not really thinking about their brain and their organs, things like this. Now, when it comes to your brain, I don't even think you have an option to keep it. I think it's mandatory that your brain will be taken. And it's a very deep thing I want y'all to grasp. Knowledge boils down to what you know. So the more you know, the more you can understand things. So it's a very deep, interesting thing. It's like the ancient text and all these different books that many of you read. When y'all read these books, being as though y'all don't have anything to correlate it with, then you really don't grasp anything it's really saying. I mean, you understand the words, but there's nothing to correlate it to. So it's a deep thing. And a lot of the things that are being spoken of in ancient texts, we have not gotten there technologically. So it's a deep thing. The farther we get, the more advanced we get, then some of those things will start to make more sense. And it's a deep thing. But I want to do this video explaining why they take our brains. Now, before I get into this video, I do want to touch on a quick topic. I'm sorry, I hate to switch topics. I like to keep things nice and simple so that people can grasp. But before I get into the brains video, I would like to do a small piece discussing Colin Kaepernick. This is the guy that kneeled, you know, for the black rights movement, so to say. I want to do a little piece on this because you have a lot of football players kneeling, and you have Trump basically going crazy. He feels like they're disrespectful. And we know black people, as well as those that's kneeling, because everyone's not black that's kneeling, but black people feel like, you know, people are disrespectful. You know, just killing us and stuff for no reason. So Trump feel like, hey, football players is disrespectful for kneeling during the national anthem. And black people feel like, well, fuck you, nigga. You disrespectful. They shooting us and you ain't making a big fucking deal about that. So it's a deep thing. But I do want to say this. Now, Trump, he's a dickhead. I'm not going to say he's not a dickhead, because he is a dickhead when you kind of just look at him in a nutshell and just, you know, for what he is. He's an asshole. But I'm not like y'all where I just hate Trump for no reason. Like, I don't feel no kind of way about Trump. He's not the problem. He's just the face of the problem right now. Obama was the face of the problem prior to him, so on and so forth. Bush, he was before Obama. He was the face of the problem. Clinton was before him. So if you get in my drift, what I'm basically trying to say is everyone hates Trump. And I feel like it's too much energy being put into Trump. Because Trump is not the problem. Y'all are letting him distract y'all as if y'all don't know presidents are only around for 4 to 8 years. He's only a 4 to 8 year asshole. He has no true power. So y'all need to stop getting lost, going crazy, protesting and all this stupid stuff because of Trump. Trump is no different than Obama. He will come and go. If you're poor, you really need to get a grip on reality, because it doesn't matter what president was ever in office. I'm positive your life has always been the same. See, presidents being in office don't have nothing to do with middle class people and poor people. It has nothing to do with y'all. Presidencies have to do with rich people. See, presidents, they get donors. These are rich people, and they donate money to them, and this is how they win the presidency. So it's like a popularity contest, or better yet, it's like a fundraising contest. Who can raise the most money? So it all boils down to popularity, or who knows the most rich people. So nobody knows more rich people than Trump, so this is why Trump won. And Obama won before him because Obama had like Oprah. Now, we know Oprah's rich. Jay-Z, Beyonce. So Obama had a lot of rich black people pushing that paper out, donating to the Obama presidency. So it's a deep thing y'all have to grasp. This all has to do with money. You buy your way to be the president if you can raise enough money. So it's a simple thing. Same with Bush. He's rich, wealthy. So this is how he won. It doesn't matter if you lose. It all boils down to who raises the most money. So it's a deep thing you have to grasp. When you're looking at the presidency, after let's say Bush, he runs this out for 4 years, and then there's another president. Or let's say after Trump completes his presidency and he cannot be president anymore. So let's say Trump does 8 years. Now the next two that run up for presidency, all you have to do is look to see who's raising the most money. And you'll know who's going to win before it even happens. This is how I knew Trump was going to win. So if you go back maybe the summer before Trump won, or like the summer right before Trump won the presidency, I made a video saying he was going to win. Everybody said I was dumb and retarded. You could go find this video. It's the funniest thing in the world. Look at the comments. I was dumb. I didn't know what I was talking about. There's no way Trump could win. This is what everybody was saying at that time. Then he won, just like I said. And the reason I knew this is because you got to follow the money. In hell, all spirits care about his money. So y'all get lost and y'all think all of this stuff is real. None of this is real. All the problems that we have, all the dumb stuff that y'all worried about, it's just a distraction from the truth. That y'all are just slaves. And it's a deep thing. It doesn't matter if Trump's in office or whoever's in office. You're going to always be in the predicament that you're in. I don't know what y'all think. It's a deep thing. I know y'all got a whole lot of thoughts. And Trump's going to bring us to war. If we're going to go to war, it's not going to be because of Trump. Because no one pays American presidents that type of mind. Those who truly run countries, they know who truly runs America. So they deal directly with them. So whatever Trump is running his mouth and saying, it don't mean nothing. This is why Trump keep threatening that president, and that president keep threatening Trump in North Korea. This is why they keep going back and forth like that. But nothing's happening. This is why. Because they know, you just in office for 4 years. Shut up. The president in America is not a real thing, like a real ruler. They're just like the face for the time. So it's a deep thing, but we need to really get a grip and stop worrying about Trump. At the end of the day, y'all are wasting y'all time and y'all are just distracting the true issues and the true secrets that's not even hidden. They not even secrets. Y'all just get lost in stupid stuff like Trump. Now I want to discuss the football players kneeling, and then we'll discuss brains. Now, the football players kneeling, I feel two ways about it. I think it's a good stand. Because, the way blacks are being treated as of lately, getting gunned down, is crazy. And this is really not new, the ante just gets upped. But I guess they'll start blowing black people up next. Because, they raise the bar every so few years. But my point is this. The football players all kneeling during the anthem. I think this is a good thing. And it shows good morality. And it's a good way to influence others to be unified. So I respect it in that manner. Now, what I don't like is this. Because football players know goddamn well when they kneel, what's the point of that? That's like going on strike but not going on strike. Grasp. Football players know goddamn well if they just don't play and say, yo, until things get equaled out, we ain't playing. They know this will affect the economy. This will affect the government. That will truly send a message. But what's happening is they're just kneeling. Now my thing is this. What is the point of that? Like, grasp. When you protest or do anything, go on strike, you do something. Now you have to grasp. Just kneeling during the anthem, what does that do? It's like nitpicking with somebody, but you getting fucked up. You on the floor getting fucked up and you like I don't see the point of kneeling during the anthem. Then you still go play. You get those that own the NFL, billions and billions of dollars. You got the government just still flourishing. And I'm trying to figure out what is the point. Kneeling. We get hyped up. We like, yeah, the brothers kneeled. And that's so deep. And it's like, what's so deep about it? They ain't going to give up that paycheck. See, they not going to not play. Because they going to get their money. So you see how we work when you really look. When you look beneath the clouds and really look at things for what it is. Brothers kneel. But then they still get their asses up and play for white men and chuck up and down the field. And they make sure they get their little chump change. Because they don't get nowhere near what the owners get. But they run up and down and shuck and jive right after kneeling. So grasp how deep that is. Mind you, they wouldn't stop playing to truly make a stand. And this is my point. Black people will sell one another out for money like that. They so crafty with it, black people will sell you out while they pretend they're helping you in a sense. It's a deep thing. Brothers kneel like that's going to do something for us. But they won't stop playing for us or for themselves. Because NFL players know they slaves. See, those that are entertainers, they know they're slaves more than the common working man. Because the entertainers get to see that whip. Because they get more than the common working man. So they get to see the ins and outs. Y'all gotta think, these entertainers, whatever they make don't matter. So I don't want you to get lost and say, man, all entertainers don't make money. Well, they may not make money, but the companies that own them, so to say, makes hella bread. So if you look at Jay-Z and you say, man, Jay-Z's rich, just imagine all the companies that he's worked for or worked under. It's a deep thing. Y'all have to grasp. Y'all like, man, Kanye West is rich. Just imagine the companies that he worked for or his company is signed to. So these people are worth a lot of money. So they get pushed in, like I said, they see that whip. Because the common slave ain't worth nothing. So let you slack or what. It don't matter if you slack, you ain't worth nothing. If you slack, it's on yourself. Who cares? So the common working man is just like extras. Just in case one of these slaves that's worth something kick the bucket. Oh, we need a new one. Get one of those common motherfuckers. We got room now. So this is how this all kind of goes. But it's just interesting to me how black people work together to work against one another. And it's a deep thing. They'll come together and kneel to work together. At the same time, they'll still play and just keep this system going how it is. So it's like, what's the point? I don't even want to talk about that. This is why I don't discuss current events. Because people act like they retarded. They be impressed with nothingness. Then when you say something, they're like, oh man, he hating on the football players kneeling. Then they like, what you doing? I ain't kneeling. And I damn sure ain't going with none of this goofy stuff. What you do is just don't acknowledge nothing. In times of being oppressed, what you do to fight back is nothing. And people just don't grasp that. If the slaves of the past just decided, you know what? The way we gonna fight this war with these white people trying to oppress us, what we gonna do is nothing. And they just told the slave master, listen man, you can beat me, kill me, whatever you need to do, torture me, but yeah, we decided we not doing nothing. So y'all figure it out. And you know, y'all get beat. A lot of people may get killed. But you got to show some morality and stand strong. And I'll guarantee you, if slaves stop working and say, I ain't doing nothing, it won't be nothing that they can do about it. And it's a deep thing. And this is what people in today's times got to grasp. We just got to stop. We always think we got to do something. What should we do? We need to all come together and do nothing. It's the most beautifulest thing. It'll fuck they whole system up. Because everybody that do everything is a slave. Don't get it twisted. The cops, oh, they slaves. They work and get a paycheck just like you. The light bill man, the Con Edison workers that come shut off your lights if you don't pay. Oh man, they work and they get a check just like you. And the gas company man the same way. And cable man. So you got to grasp. You don't got to think like, oh, if we all come together and we don't work and do nothing, then we going to be homeless. No, you're not. Because whoever evicts you, he a worker just like your ass. So that's my point. If we all come together and just don't do nothing, well, there ain't nothing they can do. We just have free cable and free lights and free places to live. Because the people that shut these things off is really slaves and workers just like your ass. And if the slaves and workers realize that they're just working against one another like dummies, it's a simple, beautiful thing. But people don't use their brains. And I want to go into this video now, discussing why they're taking our brains when we die. Now, all living beings, humans, but we're talking about humans, but all living beings have what is called a nucleus within their brain. And it's like a watery substance. Now, nucleus is plural. The real word is nuclei, or nuclei. And we have many nuclei within us. But I'm going to be using the word nucleus, the plural, because I don't like nuclei. But it's a deep thing. But within all human brains, you have a nucleus. And it's a deep thing I want y'all to grasp. It's like a watery substance. Now, this watery substance is believed to be the primordial waters. The waters for life. You know how you hear waters for life? Well, it's not talking about the water that come out your faucet or the rain, but it's talking about the nucleus, that watery substance within the nucleus, this is the waters for life. And it's a deep thing because this water is within all brains. And it's a deep thing I want y'all to grasp. The nucleus is small. So you'd probably need about 1,000, 5,000 human brains maybe just to get a cup full. And it's a deep thing because this is why they take people's brains when we die. For the nucleus. And then they do their experiments and, scientific experiments to get an understanding of the brain and certain diseases that they may can cure and things like this. But the true nature of taking the brain from the dead is for the nucleus. Now, the nucleus is small, so they need a lot of brains. And it's a deep thing. Now, I know y'all wondering what they want the nucleus for. Well, that's the primordial waters. And it's believed to extend your life. So we eat food. Food is living life. Plants, vegetation, all the living life, meat, all the living life that you see here, whether animal, man, plant, whatever. Well, not plant, but whether animal, bird, fish, all living life eats other living life. And this is how the life extends its short time longer. So if a person didn't eat, they'd probably die in a month. But you eat or steal another's life and you consume it. And this extends your life out a little longer. Then you have to repeatedly keep doing this throughout your whole life. Basically just stealing an abundance of life. So I'm saying this so you can get an understanding of how men do weird things to extend their life, their time. Now, as men advance, they find out other ways to do this. Because life is like a box of tricks in a way. Whatever you do, you can learn. Like, you get it? Whatever you want, you can have. Just figure it out. So if a man wanted to live 2,000 years on this planet, it could happen now, in today's times. But a man just has to know how. So in the ancient past, they understood this. Anything was possible. You just had to know how to do it. So food was the first lesson to teach a person this. Because when a baby's born or anything is born, just imagine the first people that came into existence, just let's say. How would they know that they were supposed to eat another living thing and that would work in extending their life? Because, a person lives, they get hungry. It's the first thing that happens. You get hungry and you're like, oh, I'm going to die. But you don't know what to do. So you like, oh my God, what am I supposed to do? Now the first person that may have figured out, because I'm sure motherfuckers just died. It's not in a person's natural instincts to think, let me eat another life. Y'all don't look at plants and the things y'all eat now as life because we just completely lost into it now. But you got to think, where did this thought come from? You got to grasp. This is something that had to be told or learned over time. You wouldn't just automatically know if I shoot down that buffalo and eat its flesh, that'll stop the hunger pains. And I won't die right away. I'll get more time. And then I'll do it again. So you get my drift? You wouldn't know that would work. So this is my point. Men get wise and they figure things out. Oh, if I consume the other life around here, I can extend mine. Sacrifice theirs, but I can extend mine. And this is why men in the past, even now, blessed their food. We bless our food now because we think it got something to do with God. But in the past, they blessed the food because they understood it was living life that they were stealing for their selfish self. So it was a sense of guilt there. This is why they blessed the food and called it a sacrifice and said, oh, we sharing it with God. Because, you want to put that guilt off on others. This is how we are in hell. It's a deep thing. But men learned that if they consume other life forms, this will extend their time. And men figure, shit, if that work, other things got to work to extend it more. And men start indulging into the sciences of life. And this is where men begin to understand there's all types of mysteries of life. And there are no limits, and there's nothing that can't be done, but it's a matter of knowing how. Knowing the life, the elements, the chemistry of things. So y'all have to be careful of a lot of the lies and dumb stuff that y'all make up, acting as if y'all have true wisdom, because these lies and dumb things that y'all speak could actually manifest and become real. It's a deep thing. Like men speak of CERN, but then they add all their goofy theories and guesses to it. Well, these goofy, stupid theories and guesses that are not even real now could become real, because anything a man speaks or thinks can be created. I don't care how crazy it may sound. It can be created. And a lot of the dumb things y'all speak ain't even been thought of because it's so stupid. But it could be made. And then we'll be stuck with the stupidness. So it's a deep thing y'all have to grasp. But in men getting wiser, understanding if one thing can extend their time, other things could too. And all they have to do is figure out how. Over long, long periods of time, men begin to understand the brain and the waters of life, which is the nucleus. And it's a deep thing because brains are took for nucleus. Now, who's getting the large amounts of nucleus? Because, nucleus is small. So let's say 10,000 men will equal one small cup of nucleus. Who's all this nucleus going to? Is the question. And where are they at living long? Because it's a deep thing. I know y'all probably oh nah, this can't be real. It's real. Y'all want to know the reference. You don't always need to know references. Sometimes you just gotta know enough to know enough. So if you a person that indulges in science and you have a very high IQ in the understandings of science, then you grasp what I'm saying. You may not have known the nucleus can extend a person's life, but you do know if you're into science that the nucleus is a very special thing. It's not just a normal thing in the life. It's a divine thing. When I say divine, I mean an extraordinary thing. I don't have the words to describe it, but if you're a scientist, you know what I mean. The nucleus is special when you're dealing with the life. So in that, when I say that it's thought that it could be used to extend the time of a person if it's consumed the same way men consume the flesh, it's a deep thing. You have to grasp, when men eat food to extend their time, they're consuming the flesh, the body of a being. The nucleus has to do with the innards, the spiritual aspect of the being. So grasp, consuming a spiritual aspect of a being as opposed to consuming the physical aspect. If the physical aspect will extend your life a little bit, well, what do you think a more divine aspect of yourself will do? This is why in the past, ancient men, like in the Mayans, they used to eat brains. It's a deep thing. They used to eat brains and think that that made them stronger and it made them live longer. Look this up. In ancient times, if anyone's a scholar that's watching this, you know I'm not making this up. I read so many things that... Besides, I don't care about scholarship. Scholars remember things for the specific reason to prove that, look, I read, but that's a waste of my time. I don't care about scholarship. But I am a scholar. Meaning, whatever I say, if you really are a scholar, then you know goddamn well I'm a scholar because you read that. So it's a deep thing. Now, when I say in the ancient times, men would consume other men's brains. And they really thought that this made them stronger. And it made them live longer. If you a scholar, you know that's a fact. Men did this. They would eat each other's brains. So when I say they're stealing brains to get the nucleus so that people can consume it to live longer or extend their lives, don't think, oh, he's just pulling this out of thin air. No. This correlates with real life. In real life, men ate brains because they thought it'd make them live longer. I don't mean cooking and stewing up brains and making a delicacy out of it. But I mean eating brains. Straight out the head, chop the head off and eat the brain. They thought it made them live longer and made them more powerful. Now, they may not have known the sciences, meaning, oh, when we're eating the brain, we're eating nucleus. They may not have known that. And who knows how many brains they would have had to eat. You get my drift? But it was something there, something they've heard. A knowledge that was lost or distorted. Where they had some type of understanding that there's some type of divinity in consuming the brain. So you get my point? It's a deep thing. The nucleus is within the brain. This is viewed as the primordial waters, or the waters for life. And if you can get enough of this watery substance, enough for a person to consume, it could extend their life longer than food will. So it's a deep thing. Now, over time, that knowledge may have gotten lost or kept from the masses, but, you know, men still remember certain things. They like, nah, I know it has something to do with brains. You got to eat the brains up. So it's a deep thing. If you're not a scientist, you don't really grasp things, but you just know, like, brains got to do with this. Now, you don't know how much nucleus you need. You don't even know it's nucleus. You just know brains. So this is my point. They probably weren't accomplishing anything when they were eating brains, but this all came from a real place. Now, I can't say if they was or wasn't when they was eating brains. I don't know. Because like I said, there's a lot of nucleus all throughout the body, but so I don't know. They could have been eating brains living longer. I don't know. But it's a deep thing. And this is the reality that y'all live in. And I don't think y'all truly grasp how horrible things are and what's happening behind the scenes. It's a deep thing. That's why I showed y'all that Mason application in the previous videos that I did. Cause y'all be thinking like things is like real but not really real. Like a lot of y'all heard of Masons. And you in your mind probably like, I don't know if this is real or if it's just like something that people done blew out of proportion. Like the Illuminati, where you like, I ain't never met an Illuminati member. But I keep hearing them talk about this, so now you like, I don't even know. Well, when you dealing with the Masons, this is real. It's a real thing. And you can't just become a Mason and say, oh, you know what, I decided I want to be a blood. It don't work like that. You got to get offered. So it's a deep thing. No one's a Mason that wasn't invited or offered by another Mason referred by another Mason. None of them. There's no Mason that is a Mason that wasn't referred by someone who was already a Mason. So my point of saying this is, most of y'all watching this will never become a Mason, because you got to actually be referred or invited by a Mason. And most of y'all don't know Masons. And if you do, they probably didn't even tell you. So it's a deep thing. Now, I know all types of people. And I get invited to be a part of all types of things. But it's because I know a great deal of knowledge. So it's different for me. Knowledge is worth more than what y'all think. So it's a very interesting thing. If you got a certain amount of knowledge, you can be invited to be a part of any secret society. It's like a swap. Tell me what you know. Little boy, Solace? So it's a deep thing. Now, I got offered to be a Mason on 2 different accounts by 2 different people. It's a deep thing, but my knowledge goes past that. So it's a deep thing, but y'all try not to get lost in this world. Try to keep your brains, because it's a deep thing. It's your main man Solace. Y'all be groovy.